call bullshit if you told them this. You're gonna have to be able to like pull out the evidence and prove that this is true, because people are gonna want to like challenge this idea. It is so out there.
Are born with ambiguous parts. This is more often from a hormonal imbalance in the womb than from chromosomal shenanigans. Either way, you have a baby that's otherwise healthy but falls outside the popular conception of sex. They could grow up to live as a boy or a girl or something beyond, but how do they decide what's right? About half of us are assigned female at birth and about half are assigned male. One half is supposed to push an entirely new person into the world, and the other is supposed to sit nearby looking helpful. Yes, there are biological differences among the sexes.
So this is a big area where like transphobes and also just people who are ignorant on this topic kind of fill in the blanks themselves, right? In nature, it seems like, logically, all species should have two sexes / genders, right? It just seems logically, if you just use common sense, to make the most sense, right? It makes sense for there to be a biologically made for bearing the process of creating life, and a stronger, more active, out there, able to travel about, less like needing to be devoted or attached to the raising of young, but able to create a lot more young, like male, right? And the idea from like a common sense biology perspective is like, yeah, and the males are always trying to fight over who's the strongest, who's the most dominant, and you know the prettiest and most biologically fit females are the ones getting fought over. So the most fit guys end up with the most fit girls, and they end up creating like strong children that then continue the species in the most optimal way possible, right? It's just biology and evolution. A lot of people think this way, and they kind of fill in the gaps there, right? And they think, yeah, so it just kind of makes sense. There would just be men and women, right? Women to carry children, men to implant them, right? Like that is how a species would work. And even those roles tie in well with our social and societal roles, right? Women are smaller with wider hips for giving birth to young, but that also makes them, you know, generally weaker than men who don't have to carry a baby, but they're also bigger, stronger in general, and can do more like labor and whatnot. So it kind of follows women stay home, they raise children, men go out and they do labor. And our society kind of built from these assumptions based on what we thought was true of biology. Now, it's possible that biologically humans are meant to just be male or female, like man or woman, and only ever straight. But the fact is, gay people do exist. Trans people do exist, that whose internal understanding of their identity on a core fundamental level does not align with the gender they were assigned at birth. And there are cases where people's chromosomes do not align with the XX or XY layout that we assume, and sometimes even their overt appearance physically is impacted by that. So unfortunately, for someone who wants to say that is how it is supposed to be, we don't know that, and there are outliers. So the fact that just to say, oh, well, the fact that in most cases this is how it goes must mean that's how it's supposed to go, just because you observe it. Well, we also observe those outliers. So by your logic, those outliers are supposed to happen too, right? Because they always use the term outlier, by the way. They never want to include these non-binary things in the binary, even when they exist. They have to come up with another label for them to exclude them. But without including them in anything that could make them not be part of the binary. It's very bizarre. It's erasure, really, is what it is. But the fact is, most people don't understand the biology behind reproduction. You don't have to look far beyond humans to see species that break that mold entirely. Like, there are tons of species who have completely flipped hierarchy status, right? Where females are bigger and stronger and run everything, and males are weaker and subservient and are basically existing as a harem of male suitors to a female that decides like who she wants to get impregnated by. Like hyenas do that, I think. Maybe lions do as well. Then you've got like fish A lot of stuff in the ocean acts this way, like clownfish and seahorses will literally change their gender. Bees operate in a wild capacity, like their whole system is crazy. But yeah, tons of frogs literally change their sex all the time. Like, it's known that frogs can just do that if they need to for the sake of their environment to propagate. The idea that just because that logically makes sense biologically and in nature, that must be how it's supposed to be, and thus our social standards and expectations should be locked into that, is absurd. Especially because even if that was the case, humans are greater than just animals. Like, we have well surpassed. We are the number one apex predator on the planet for a reason. We have surpassed all the other animals. Like, we can be better. We don't have to just consider survival and like evolution anymore. We are people.
Sexes, there are also differences that feel biological but aren't. The labels man and woman come with expectations for how to act, how to dress, how to live. Are you a girl who wants to wear jeans with big manly pockets? That's not very ladylike. Are you a boy who cries when Jesse's owner outgrows her? Man up! There's no law of the universe making girls wear clothes with tiny pockets or stopping boys from crying at old Pixar movies. Otherwise, we'd all behave exactly as we should, and this video wouldn't exist. This is baggage we place on the sexes as a society. That's gender, and that's what people mean when they call it a social construct. I think of gender as a two-sided coin. On one side, there's the performance. When you size someone up on the street, you quickly put them in the man column or the woman column and expect them to act accordingly.
A lot of people used to get hung up and triggered by the term social construct as if it meant not real. So calling something a social construct is not saying it's not real. It's saying that it's real because we believe it's real. It's real in the same way that the value of $1 is real. Like, sure, it's just people saying it has value, but that dollar can also buy you lunch and pay your bills and get you a car and do so-and-so. You can use those dollars to do a lot of real, tangible things. So even if money and currencies like the US dollar are a social construct, they're very real, you know? Even if like that piece of paper technically has no inherent value. In that same way, our conception of gender and even the words we speak have no inherent value. What gives them value is the social construct we've built where we all have a general understanding of what those words mean. When I say hello when passing someone, we've all existed in a society, for the most part, in which we know what hello means. We know it's a friendly greeting. And we like understand intention and respond in kind because that is the tool that language offers. But there is no objective English. There is no objective Spanish or objective French, right? Like, it is just a socially agreed upon, like, this is what this language is. And that changes over time. Ye olde English was damn near impossible to understand if you're a modern day English speaker, right? Because what was quote unquote objective English has not always been the same. Even going back 50 years ago, what was objective English wasn't the same as it is today. So it's not all that objective. It's just kind of what we decide it to be, right? We change the meaning of words all the time socially, and those definitions fundamentally change because so many people recognize the definition as something else now, that its use as meaning something else has been completely overridden. Anyway, back to it. Sorry to stunlock on that. Just a little diatribe about social constructs. People used to get really hung up on that idea that social construct meant not real.